G'day, mates. Welcome to the last match of the night. It may be the last match, but it definitely is not the least hype match because we have two flag bargs and we have a lot of DPS ships. I'm joined, of course, by Maud. And Maud, talk us through us, mate. What are these guys brought?
So the double Leshak core, supported by, interestingly enough, a torpedo armor bard guest, double Magus for those link supports, double deacons, a no gun vexer, a griffin, and a skybreaker. Meanwhile, on the side of boundary experts, they've opted to go full rapid heavy missiles, or no Neros instead of double deacon, Magus, double rocket heretic for support, Vengeance and Punisher for tackle core, and of course the 1 point skybreaker that everyone loves so much.
Yeah, that's a very interesting setup. We have a torpedo flagship bargest. I feel like this guy's after my heart right now because that is just sounds like so much fun to me. So the match is
Okay,
underway
speaking of
now.
having fun, though, Punisher, Vengeance are already streaming across the field, getting tackle on things. We see that the Punisher just barely being forced out of being able to get tackle onto the Barghest. The Heretic committing and then getting, defensively screened by that Barghest. Really good presence of mind by Melinda to force off the, fit there. Interestingly enough, he's got a bit of a memer named Cruise Fit on his ship while taking torpedoes. You love to see it. Meanwhile, the heretic of Pinchy has been counter scrammed by the Leshak and is taking a good amount of damage. So far, Leshak's not really committing onto a spool of anything, as a Vengeance has been actually getting on top of Paradigm's Leshak right now.
I'm actually surprised by how aggressively they've gone and tackled the other side because they don't really need to. Like they're the Kyrie comp. They could play defensively and use it as a screen, but instead they've gone, you know what? Nope, we're gonna go balls deep with our support wing and throw a heretic, a punisher, and a vengeance straight at the enemy team. I
So if
okay.
I'm Yokan, I like what I did here. So basically, Yokan burnt in, baited a lot of the incoming Barghest and TFI damage. But if you look at Yokan, he's got a cloud of heavy armor bots on top of him
And he's just
that were
left.
keeping him up. He was never worried. Meanwhile, the Heretic has been getting neuted by the Leshek and the Barghest. They're wanting to, keep those tackle ships at bay. We already see rep drones trying to support that Heretic. Heretics are a T2 interdictor, and you can see that they do have a lot of damage. They do have T2 resist, but they're not quite as beefy as, say, a Vengeance. So it makes sense to primary it if you're on the side of Odin.
Yeah, but I mean, two Leshaks and a torpedo bargesh trying to shoot a destroyer. That is a tall ask, especially of the torpedoes. They're having some trouble for sure.
Yeah, torpedoes not really applying to destroyers almost no matter what kind of fit you have. So far, the Typhoon fleet issues just kind of not really wanting to close range because rapid heavy Foons are very happy to do that. Meanwhile, Yokan closing range, getting counter scrammed off by the Barghest of Avery Lewis, being having that flag, scram range. So a lot of screening, kind of back and forth. Meanwhile, the heavy missile clips getting dumped into Paradigm right now, who doesn't have any rep drones on top of him yet, just to those deacons.
Yet. Yeah. Yeah, they'll be there very soon. You can see a bunch of them already on the way. But yeah, this has been a somewhat slow start. We expect to see a lot of the tackle guys who charged in die, but nope. Even the heretics are holding perfectly fine. The punchers are holding fine. The vexer that got aggroed early, he's holding fine. Like it's surprisingly the Logi have done very, very well at the start of this match. Paradigm's still sitting at pretty high armor. I suspect this clip will not kill him, but maybe they can try and get him with an ammo type switch against his reactive.
I can't help but think these Leshaks appear to maybe be out tracking themselves a little bit against this heretic who, was grappled, was webbed, was scrammed, was neuted, all of the things being done to it. And he's somehow still alive after 4 minutes of basically getting pounded. Paradigm still, repairing himself all the way back to full after these typhoons are forced to hit their reload on the clip.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if the Griffin of Nuke Blast has actually had a chance to break up the rapid heavy clips of these Typhoon fleets and this Vargas. Like he can really be an absolute nuisance for these rapid heavy clips that require all their damage at once to actually make the job work.
So if I'm the Punisher of Yan or maybe even the Skybreaker, I can almost see a world in which you basically say, "Hey guys, I'm gonna just leave. Let you guys do your thing. I'm gonna, hunt down a
Oh,
Griffin." But
look at the
meanwhile, Avery
Vargas of Avery
Lewis is getting
Lewis.
pounded right now.
Yeah, he's in range of the
So
Lashak gun. That's not good. He does not want to be there. That Shack is going to get more and more damaging really soon. He does not want to be here.
Okay. Yeah, so he's being webbed, he's being grappled. Magus and Dexter are trying to close in. We see Reptrones get on top of him. It doesn't appear that this is a dual prop Barghest. We've seen that kind of be a thing that armor teams do to just be able to try to pull range and mitigate incoming damage. That would help against the torpedoes and Leshaks, but Avery Lewis is going nowhere and going nowhere fast as Leshaks are closing to zero and bringing their full spools to bear on him.
Yeah, they need to scram off these Leshaks and potentially even bump Avery out of the range of these Leshaks. 'Cause at this point, he is going to die because these Leshaks will start spooling up to somewhere around 3,000 DPS, and he just cannot tank that.
Yeah, we see, Avery Lewis, was getting some, rep, and now look at the chunks he's taking.
Look at
Those
that.
little shacks are fully spooled right now. Rep drones are still on top of him,
It's
but
already
he's
too
down
late.
at the hull, and yeah, it's too late. He's gonna die here. Liam and Curris and Captain James gonna be the only surviving battleship core, and if I'm boundary experts, I don't know what I do next. I'm being controlled by tracking disruption. I haven't been able to break anything on the side of Odin's in the last 6 minutes so far.
I'm also just surprised that the Bug hasn't let himself get close enough to these Leshaks in the first place. Like, yeah, he's been track disrupted, but surely he can still engage at more than scram range.
Okay, so we see that a jet can has been dropped by the Vexor of Yokan Otsuba, so he's going to be the holder of all of the flagship loot. I and I see him already pulling range, trying to get safe, grabbing whatever was in there, probably maybe trying to upgrade their own Barghest. As Liam and Curris is, now going to be the primary. Liam, at a very not safe, range, having been held down by both Leshaks, getting basically pounded into, and largely the same story as Avery Lewis. Man, I understand that you want to use your newts in the situation that you're in with that utility you have, but you can't close to range on Leshaks in a Typhoon fleet.
Exactly that. Same problem with the Bug. Like, you might be getting tracking disrupted, you may want to use your newts, but you absolutely do not, in any circumstance, get within Leshak gun range and get scrammed. That's just suicide.
So we see that the Griffin did finally die off as he burnt
Moral victory.
to Yeah, he burnt to the opposite side of his team, couldn't get any reps. Already we see the Skybreaker of Charlie. Well, he's burning away. I don't know why. It looks like he's actually about to hit towards the arena, but does decide that he's going to come back about 70 kilometers later, as God's Apples in his own Neros is on the literal opposite end of his team, being chased down by a Vexor. He is now getting neuted. He's about to get tackled, webbed, and we see just being picked apart by light missiles. Good fights in local so far. Um, Long story short, don't brawl with battleships against Leshaks and Torp Barghest.
Yeah, Torp Bug is the whole thing. I'm so glad to see that win. That is such a funky ship. But yeah, the Nero's actually
Oh,
looks like he's going for the Edge of Glory.
yeah, no, this gets even better. He says, I'm going to make it. We see him get to 123 kilometers and get
Oh,
denied in the last 2 kilometers as he tries to basically, int one for the boys. Um, Yoksan went to 116 kilometers chasing after him. So the
yep,
Oneros
that's what I was
ran
hoping
out
for.
of the arena trying to drag the Vexor with the flagship loot in him to also suicide, and the Vexor did not bite in the last
I'm so
second.
sad it
So
didn't happen.
good
That would have been so
presence of mind and
amazing.
awareness.
That would have been so amazing just to have the flagship loot casually burn out of the arena and explode.
Yeah, no, I understand that if you're God's Apples, you play for the moral victory, not being able to get the victory on the grid. A lot of GGs in local. I don't think we're going to be seeing anything else dying besides maybe some port ships for boundary experts. Maybe
Where's
this
Typhoon Fleet?
Typhoon in the
Yeah, the
next
Typhoon Fleet
minute
was
and
gonna go.
15 seconds. Yeah, the Typhoon, this is why I don't fly, in tournaments anymore. Captain James Sparrow actually is being held down by literally everything. The Vengeance attempts to break the record. Hits 209 kilometers. I don't think he's broken Casper 24's record, but that's very
Not at all.
respectable. Megas hits 218. We'll have to get confirmation.
Oh,
That might be a new record.
yeah. Honest
Heretic
attempts. Honest
204.
attempts.
Yeah, they're just hitting the micro jump drives and trying to meme themselves out of the arena as they have been memed out of the lower bracket as Odin's Call will advance to face Vidra Reloaded tomorrow.
Yeah, I see 221 kilometers. So that's pretty high up there. 222. Woof.
Yeah,
Casper's starting to
shout
sweat.
out to Yeah, shout out to our production team who is, giving us live updates on teams currently feeding right now. Avery Lewis asking in local if that's a world record. Heretic dropping out. So as much as we're kind of making fun of, boundary experts here, they are in fact perhaps maybe experts on setting the record for hitting the edge of the boundary. As
Yep.
time expires, we send it back to the studio and making a respectful run in this tournament, getting some flag or even AT ships.